Hi everyone, it's Margaret here with 60 and Me. Today I want to talk about thriving and surviving after a loss or a divorce. Many women in our community are in this category, and we talk about it often in our Patreon supporters group, and I think it's one of the threads in our life that can be both devastating, completely overwhelming, but also in the longer run, an opportunity for embracing a brand new chapter of your life. One of the videos I've done that was most successful video ever was, reasons that women love to live alone in their 60s. And I think a lot of it was by choice. People just decided they wanted to live alone, but many were there because of a divorce or a loss of a partner, friend. And that's, I think, the really significant conversation here. It's a time for self-reflection, for really getting to the bottom of what is on your mind for the future, what your goals are, what your passions are, and also for embracing change. Now, change, we know, we've talked about this so many times, it's actually the only real constant in our lives, that we can guarantee things are going to change. Now, we can be accepting of that, and we can be, sort of aligned to it and grow from it, or we can be pushing back. But it's an opportunity for personal growth. It's also an opportunity for reestablishing and redefining, but re-energizing your passions. If you've got something that you want to do that maybe not so much that your partner or your husband or whatever didn't like you doing these things, or that you were just held back in some way, but it just gives you a recharge, like it's a way of saying, hey, I always wanted to do more of that, or I always wanted to do that, but I just didn't feel like I could leave my husband alone, or I just I just depended on my friend who I've lost to sort of motivate me. It's a chance to do it for yourself, and also it's a way to sort of establish some boundaries, so that or reestablish some boundaries. Maybe so that you can start saying no to people that are toxic in your life, that you really, because there was maybe an association with the person that you divorced or lost with this other individual. Maybe they were part of a group that you used to get together with as a couple. And it's a chance now for you to say, that person was in my life because they were connected to, my ex-husband or my partner in a certain way, and that's not there anymore. And I actually don't find that person supportive of me or encouraging, and it's a time to reestablish and redefine those boundaries and to let things go, to just genuinely let things go. And, surround yourself with family and friends and, support groups that actually align to you, what you really love in life, what the things are that you want to do, and not to be defined by things you did in the past that maybe were fun, and you filled your time with it. It was part of the rhythm of a relationship. And when that rhythm has gone and you're no longer getting up in the morning, doing this, doing that, going shopping together, doing holidays together, you're now able to reach out to the people who truly do love you. Maybe you've not had the chance or opportunity to actually give them the time that they need. I'm going to take a pause here. Is anybody else having hot weather? Oh, it's really warm here too, and I haven't got air conditioning on, and I just want to get my breath here for a bit. But anyway, another thing to talk about, of course, is setting boundaries, and that's something sometimes that your emotional well-being has been defined by a partner, and you've gone to them for support, you've gone to them for emotional help, for perspective, for feedback, for even answers to your questions, even for suggestions about how to go forward. But and maybe it wasn't a positive environment. And that's part of the guilt that I think a lot of women do feel when a husband who they weren't so happy with at the end, they feel that they should have tried harder or did better, or, that it was your fault somehow that person is no longer with you. And it's hard. I mean, especially with a divorce. I mean, divorce is difficult because there's often another person involved. They often have decided that they don't find something about you that's attractive or interesting or suits them anymore. And that's really hard. I mean, that's kind of like an attack on who you are as a person. And I think that divorce in your 60s is really, really difficult. But and if you want to talk about this, by the way, in the comment section below, I'm totally open to that. I think that it's really, I always used to worry about the comments in our videos, because I thought sometimes they might turn into stories that were hard for people to read, or just maybe not so positive, and that's okay. Life is not a bowl of cherries, as they say. But, maybe just taking time to share is good too. But embracing your independence, that's the thing. Celebrating the freedom that you now have, from from that marriage or from that person. Oh my goodness, am I going to survive this video? I don't know. But embracing your independence is really, really important. Move to a cooler climate, but align with your own desires and your own passions. This is super, super important. And how do you do this? Yeah, I said, oh, okay, Margaret, I got a divorce. I lost my husband 3 years ago. I'm just not going out of the house. I'm hiding out. I don't have any confidence. I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling really isolated and lonely. How do I change that? How do I, move away? Well, I mean, of course, there is one obvious thing you can do, which is to seek some help. And sometimes this is really, really helpful to go to a professional who has heard this before and knows the triggers, knows the kind of steps that have worked for other people and can advise you. I can get into your head a little bit with you and understand what you need to do to move forward. Counseling or therapy, and it doesn't have to be one-on-one. There's lots of support groups on Facebook, divorced women or women who've lost a partner, bereavement groups, and you don't have to go and spend a lot of money on an individual psychiatrist or counselor, but there's a lot of support groups that you can plug into, and they can help you navigate the emotional challenges and the tough times that you are going to experience. It's going to be all sort of up and down. The stages of grief that Elizabeth Kubler-Ross talked about, where you go through these different stages of anger and bargaining and accepting are really important, and I think there's some relevance to those for sure. Cultivating gratitude. I know that when your life has been focused on one person or one individual, and then they're not there any longer, it's really hard to cultivate gratitude for not having that person. But but you've got things you can be grateful for, which you still have, that are really powerful. And in the great scheme of things, it will move on. There is a time for everything, and there will be a time for you to be happy again. And I encourage you to not give up. Embracing new experiences. This is a really cool way to get through this. Travel a little bit, or try something new that you've never done before. Just make it as an activity that you've never tried, that you just thought, well, that'd be fun. Run a marathon, walk a mile. I mean, whatever it takes. Don't have to push yourself to crazy limits. I think ultimately there's a point of forgiving and letting go. Now, with a divorce, this is obviously particularly difficult if you've had a relationship where there's been cheating on you, or an affair, or some kind of alternative that eliminated you completely from the picture and negated all that you thought was real and beautiful and passionate about your relationship. But letting it go, anger and resentment and jealousy are just not going to be emotions that will help you get through this. This is my experience, and I speak from personal experience. You've got to find peace. You got to move forward. When I got divorced, I remember I saw this little, I probably still have it somewhere, a little picture, and it was this woman carrying a suitcase with an umbrella, and it just said, keep moving forward. No, don't look back. You're not going that way. And it was like the road was stretching out in front of this person, and it was amazing. And I think just in general, letting go of those emotions, but redefining your success, the things you've done well. Look at the good things about that marriage. I mean, that helped me a lot. I went back and looked at pictures. Some people say you should burn all your pictures. I will not do that, because to me, the pictures tell the story. And maybe in a relationship that was a quick relationship, maybe a few years or a year or a day or a week, whatever, and you just want to let them go out of your mind, yes, burn the pictures. But for me, I looked at the pictures and I saw the smiles and the good times, and there were lots and lots of those. So I think that's the thing to remember. With the death of a partner, I think it is also very important to remember the good times, because it gets bumpy as you start to let that person go. Celebrate your achievements, and also create a vision for the future. Have a goal, have a dream. It's never too late. And I know that in many cases, the relationship with your husband that you lost was a good one, and that you loved them dearly. There was no negativity at all, that you shared everything, that you had great communication, that they loved you. And it's such a huge, devastating loss when they're gone. But I think that they would want you to have a vision for the future, and to take whatever it was that you shared together and move it forward. To take the love that they gave you, the support, the acceptance, to go and to go forward with it. So this is a really, it's actually very emotional because I think I've been through several of these situations myself, but thriving after a divorce or a loss and reinventing yourself, restructuring and is important. So if you're going to share your own situation, please do that. I'd love to hear what you went through and how you dealt with it. And hopefully you found this of value. I really appreciate your vulnerability that you allow with me here. We've got an amazing community. And by the way, if you do want to join our Patreon supporters group, I would definitely appreciate that so much. It helps our business. We don't charge anything for all of our content, and this is how we thrive. And if you join $3 a month, you can join our angel group, and you can join our live shows that we do twice a week, and also a great group of people. They're traveling together, they're meeting in the real world. It's really, really fun. And you can just go to patreon.com/60andme. The details are in the section under the video that says see more. And if you have any questions, just leave it in the section below. Okay, everybody, well, have a fabulous day, wherever you are, however you are, alone or with someone, or preparing to lose someone, preparing to let something go in a divorce. It's okay. Hang in there. You're going to be okay. We're here to help you. Take care, everybody. Lots of love.